Hi there, my name is Michael Lee of the Static Site Editor Group, and today I'm going to talk about the category maturity scorecards that we did for Q3. So the purpose of this session was to evaluate changing our category scorecard from minimal to viable. And to do that, we interviewed 10 participants and got them to do one task of editing the handbook page. And based on that, we asked them two questions for scoring. So one of them was, the static site editor editing capability meets my requirements. And for that, we got a score of 4.5 out of 5 as an average. The second question was, static site editing experience is easy to use. And for that, we got a score of 4.7 out of 5. Both of these scores are high enough to allow us to move our score from minimal to viable. So that's a good thing for our group. While talking to these participants, we were also able to uncover some other areas of the product where we could improve upon. So let's dive into some of those insights now. So our participants that took part of this study were also first-time users of the static site editor. Perhaps only two were who have used the static site editor before. Most were brand new, and for some of these new editors, they had trouble finding where the button or the link was to get into the static site editor, because they were trying to find the links at the bottom. So they're more accustomed to going to the bottom of the page to click on the web IDE or the single page editor to edit. So there was a little bit of time spent trying to find where the link to the static site editor was. And if you want, you can jump into this dovetail page and click on play to play back the key videos to that highlight these points. So once in the static site editor, it wasn't that clear to some people that the text was editable. Partly, this is due to the fact that most participants were used to the fact that that UI within the GitLab product requires you to click on edit or an explicit action to get into an editing state. So it wasn't obvious to them that navigating to the static site editor page was actually already in edit mode. That's probably something we could revisit in the future. Once in the editor and they were tasked to make the text change, some people found that finding the text to edit was still a challenge. The page that I got people to edit was this GitLab handbook usage page, and the change was about 3/4 of the way down. So they had to scroll, or most used Control F to search for the text that they were looking for. And in this scenario where the person tried to use Control F but it wasn't working, we followed up with them. They tried again and the search was working again. So it might have been an outlier there. Yeah, so people were scrolling up and down and couldn't find the text. And some people were jumping back and forth between the what you see is what you get and raw markdown, and that also changed their cursor position. The next point was after submitting the changes that it would appear slow, and some participants used context switch during this. So some ended up checking their emails or other tabs on their browser even during the testing. So I think in real life, this delay is something that we're looking at and something we're addressing as a group. So if you want to see those scenes again, just click play, and then it'll play back those sections for you. And one participant also suggested doing some more feedback and using a progress bar or something like that to show the progress of the things that we're doing in the background. Managing merge requests is a core obstacle. So one participant's quote was, the things that make it difficult with merge requests are with edits is merge requests and the merge request assignments, more so than the editing itself. So that's this participant. And some people have issues trying to find who the DRI is to get to assign it to. And there's different ways people try to figure out who's the real person. And people find that going back to the handbook page to see the different pictures of the maintainers is a good sign, good hint of who they could assign it to. So that's a useful feedback on that feature that our group, the static site editor group, added to the handbook a few months ago. And then we talked to other participants. We focused mainly on sales and product marketing. And for that, we discovered in talking to a lot of product marketers that within the product marketing pages in the handbook, they leverage a lot of embeds. So these links here are key pages that have a lot of embeds, if not very complex ones. So it's something useful for us as a group to explore and to understand how people are trying to fit their content within the handbook. And that concludes the summary of the category maturity scorecard testing for the static site editor. If you want more, you can always follow the issue here, 1023. Other than that, thank you very much for your time.